How y'all doing, everybody? This is Ray of RebelEars.com with my business partner, YL, and this is another episode of the Rebel Ears podcast. So today we're going to just make this a quick episode. We're going to go ahead and talk about YL's ventures. Recently, he's working on this event. Rebel Ears is partnering with this event. So go ahead and give a little more information on what we've been, involved with.
Okay, so we're throwing a showcase in March, and it's about, I would say, like 8 different artists. And so being an engineer, I'm going to speak on the engineer standpoint first. Being an engineer, I've been in the studio a lot working on the showcase. A lot of artists are working on new singles that they want to perform. So it's been a lot of recording. Of course, these are songs that they also want to drop as singles for streaming also.
Yeah.
So coming up in the next week, it'll be a lot of mixing going on. Each artist is doing about 2 solos, and then we have a few group projects that they're going to end up collabing on. So basically, on the engineer standpoint, man, it's just been a lot of work in the studio. Like I said before, there'll be a lot of mixing coming up soon with this showcase. So after I do all the recording, and we're actually still in the process of recording, and I've been in the studio. Tomorrow will be the 3rd time I've been in the studio this week. Or twice I was working on the showcase.
Yeah.
So what's going on with the showcase, basically, after I do the recording, after I do the mixing, I actually have to do a performance mix.
Oh, the show version, yeah.
Yes. I have to do the show mix for all of these different artists. So basically what that entitles is, if you've ever been to a concert, it's basically the mix that artist is performing over. A lot of mainstream artists, a lot of singers, a lot of big deal artists, they get a performance mix from their engineers, which will be for performing on TV, performing on stage, performing in different venues, different avenues. And basically the lead vocals are cut out of the mix. The hook, you can still hear the hook. It might be turned down just a tad, but you can still hear the hook. The most important thing is the main vocals, as far as the verses and all of that, is cut out. The ad-libs are still there.
Yeah.
Ins and outs are still there. Background vocals are still there. It's mainly just the lead vocal, because what you don't want your artist screaming over themselves.
Yeah.
Right? So you got background vocals, you got ad-libs. Those kind of complement the verse. They complement the original recording, the original signal, which is the lead vocals. So you don't have to pull those out, because you still want the artist to be complimented from their vocals or from the background vocals or from the ad-libs in the performance. So after I record, still, like I said, I still got some more recording to do this week. I'll do some mixing. Once I mix all of those tracks down and everybody's happy with those mixes right before the performances, probably about a week before the performance, I'll do a performance mix. And that will allow the artist to practice on their breaths, practice on different things like, their delivery, because they won't have that lead vocal. The only lead vocal will be themselves. So if they forget their words, everybody's going to know.
Yep.
Which, like I said, if you've been to concerts, you've been to performances, you've been to award shows, different places, you can see that a lot of artists are not lip singing and a lot of artists are not screaming over themselves. What you hear coming out of those speakers is what they're doing on the stage. So on the engineering point, that's where I'm at right now with the showcase. A lot of work still has to be done within the next week and a half, tops. Because there, of course, I do have a deadline. And then from a businessman standpoint, as far as Rebel Ears is concerned, and, a lot of engineers and a lot of music professionals, this is where you guys come in on another note. Okay, so we're engineers. We started out as engineers. But as being engineers, and, we both used to be artists, and, it's a different story. But basically, we've built connections. Right? As being engineers, we know plenty of artists. We know lots of producers. We know DJs. We know radio personalities. We know studio owners, managers. We know a lot of people that are in the industry on their way into just different levels.
Yeah.
So on the business standpoint, I thought about, okay, how can Rebel Ears be incorporated with the showcase itself? Now, the engineering, that's just my profession. That's what I do. That was just something that I do anyway because I'm an engineer. But business-wise, so Rebel Ears, we were responsible for finding the DJ. We'll be responsible for building the show. So once I get every artist songs in, some artists are not recording with me. Some artists have their own engineers. So they'll be doing, they'll be putting together their own show. As far as a show mix and performance mix is concerned, they'll get their engineers to do it. And what I'll do for them is to basically build a show. So they'll send me those mixes, right? They'll send me their performance mixes and I'll combine them. So what I do for performances, I take, say you're doing 4 songs, but 2 of them are going to be cut short. Right. So I'll cut the 2 that's supposed to be short in their own session. I bounce it shortly, fade it out however it needs to be faded so it sounds good, it blends well. And then what I'll do is I'll upload all 4 songs into one session. And I'll do one huge bounce. So you'll have about roughly 3 to 4 seconds between each song. I've had artists ask me to put like different drops and drop some bombs right here,
different
some
effects,
bullet, effects, and just to kind of make that transaction known for the artist. Also, it gives them a guide to know, okay, my next song is coming in, different things like that. So that's what I'll be doing after I do performance mixes. I'll be building everyone's show as far as however many songs they're doing. And I'll put it all in one session. I'll fade them all into each other so where it flows, and then it's one big bounce. So instead of the DJ having to play 4 different songs, he's going to play one long song that has 4 songs embedded into it. And then, like I said, Rebel Ears will be responsible for putting the show together, deciding when we're going to start the performances, deciding who's going to go first, so basically we take all the songs. Let's say it's 18 songs total from eight different artists. Let's say it's 18 songs total. Those 18 songs might equivalent to about 54 minutes. Right? It's a 4-hour showcase. We don't want to perform in the first hour, let the building build up. So basically we'll be responsible for fitting 54 minutes of performances in 3 hours worth of DJ time and party time. Because we don't want to beat nobody's ear up for 54 minutes with 8 different artists, 8 different styles.
That'd be too much, actually.
It'll be too much.
With YL being a part of this showcase, as I'm also going to be involved in it too, with him working with different artists, working with different, clients from his ebook, Reoccurring Clientele, this is a good example that's something recent. Now, when it comes to the showcase, what he was talking about making the show version, we heard a lot of artists coming out. They have their main vocal playing, and then, it's hard to hear the artist because the artist's music is playing while the artist is performing, and it's just a clash. You want to have that natural energy of the artist at that moment, giving you a great performance. And then one thing you don't really see that we might see at the showcase is a stage presence and then engagements with the audience. Sometimes, you can look at one person, you point at them. I remember this one artist, he before he gets on stage, he'll get a shot. Right? He'll buy 2 shots at the bar. He'll go on stage. All right, right before I perform, man, you're right there. Come here. We're going to take a shot before I perform. Take a shot, and he go in. Right. Because that's engagement right there. That artist, that one person who took a shot with that artist is going to remember like, oh, man, he's dope. And after the performance, he probably want to connect, see where his music. That's a way of getting people to listen to your music, streaming. You could buy 4 or 5 shots, and who knows, that shot could have been like $5, $10. Well, $5, $6, $7, and they could stream your music buy your merchandise right then and there. It could be $15-$20 from that one shot. So it's a way of engaging with your upcoming fans, especially for the showcase, which I'm actually excited about. When YL was recording a few artists, I was able to go to the session. I was free around that time. I had no work around. I think it was a 7:00 session. He was I try to remember the studio. What was the studio?
I want to say Beat Star Studio. I think that's the name of it.
Yeah. It was my first time going there. It was very nice.
Right there off of 10th Street downtown, not too far from Georgia Tech.
Oh yeah, it was one of those professional back-end studio because they have plaques everywhere.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time.
Oh yeah,
I think it's Beat Star, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so too. But one thing that we wanted to work on, anytime that YL and I link up, of course, if it's at the Rebel Ear Studio, we do the podcast. If we meet at another studio, we get content, videos. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Talk about ideas. Good example. If you download his recent ebook, 10 quick tips to attracting reoccurring clients. I'm going to get that down. In the book, you'll see some of the images from that session. I was taking the pictures because we always want to show people what we're doing. We always want to show people what we're doing at the moment consistently, right? Because we talk about doing music, talk about going to different studios. If you don't see us at the studio, then you're just thinking of we're just talking about past situations. Mm-hmm. The ebook came out right along. YL's ebook came out the same day you had that session, right? It was one of those.
It was like a couple days after that session.
Yeah, because I remember when the ebook was coming out, we was already talking about the showcase on another session you just had booked up, and then working on multiple artists at the same time. You gotta organize your time, gotta make sure you're scheduling the time to mix and then the time to record, especially working with different clients. It depends on your work ethics, basically. If you're good with dealing with different individuals, different personalities, different aspects, like what are they in need of, if they're used to being in the studio or if they're not, if they know what kind of plugins they want to use, or if they're going to let you just, freehand it and see what comes out. There's different things you got to prepare for, especially working with new artists, because all of them were new, right?
Yeah, all of them except for one.
Yeah.
I usually do Slim Nose stuff, but actually I got a new client off of this showcase work. Yeah. I got a guy who hit me after the first night we recorded. I think at the end of this week, we'll be like 4 or 5 sessions in for the showcase. 5-hour blocks now. By the way, guys, like dealing with multiple artists, it's not really a struggle for me because I'm used to it now, but 5 hours to record 3 different artists or 2 different artists in different styles and women and men and singing and rapping and you really got to be honed in and zoned in into your craft. But yeah, like the next day he hit me like 8:00 in the morning, bro. Like, hey, I'm about to go ahead and do my tape, bro. I'm gonna need this many days, these many hours. What's your ticket? Yeah. And we was locked in probably like within 2 days after that text message, we was locked in. And so I'm working on the showcase, I'm working on the tape at the same time. And then of course, just miscellaneous mixes that I just get throughout the week and whatnot.
So it just shows the work that we're putting in with the company because, this is not just, didn't just happen overnight. It took time for us to get clients, get people to trust in our work, to really own in on us being partners with different venues and events. We partnered with so many events, before COVID, yeah, we was doing a lot of stuff in 2019, 18. Especially 2020, we had a few events, but it was mostly like virtual or IG Live.
Right.
We had one event, but it was social distancing. It was like a live keynote. So we've been doing a lot of things that shows when we know what we're talking about, and a lot of people trust our opinions because we have the clientele, not just that, but the experience too. When it comes to the experience, that's really what takes it to the next level, especially when it comes to, like we was talking about, different artists, right? With those different artists, they already know what they're paying for. Right. Anytime you're working on a session, you're not paying for, the mix, the recording. You paying for that engineer's taste. A lot of people don't even know what that means. So basically the taste might be, man, I go to YL because his 808s be hitting, or I go to Ray because the clarity in the vocals, or, I go to him because of how he glued the whole track together. There's different tastes that a lot of people don't really take into account when they listen to a track. Right. So that's why the showcase is going to be a very dope event, because it's going to have like amazing recording, great mix, amazing performance. Well, I already know it's going to be dope because
I heard most of the songs. Yeah. It's going to be pretty dope.
Yeah, I already know that.
What's going to be great, though, this is just me being a little vindictive real quick, but when those other artists get on that stage and compare their material to the artists that I did, I know they'll be calling. They'll be calling. I'm going to get at least another client or two that I've never worked with before off of this showcase, because it's like 4, 5. It's like 4 artists. So it's like, okay, I said 8 artists. So it's like 10 artists total, and I've recorded 5, 6 of them.
And then you're going to be getting some clientele.
And they're going to actually get real performance mixes, and I don't know, and this is just me. Like, usually I would, but I'm so busy that I can't let these other artists send me all of these sessions to do individual mixes for them.
Oh yeah, that's too much.
The only thing I can do is take their MP3s and just build that performance and put them all in one session, blend them and turn it into a performance. I can't give them performance mixes because I got too much going on.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie, I just want to be vindictive because I know after this showcase they're gonna be like, hey, whatever you did to their music, I want you to do to mine. So.
Yeah, it happens all the time because it's not. The music industry is a competition. Right. So if your mix is better, of course, the artist is going to attract to where the quality is. And, a little tip for those who networking or doing their own showcase, when it comes to the DJ, you could do something as if you, book the DJ or anything in that aspect, every artist that comes link up with the DJ, it should be in the DJ's interest to network with them on some aspect. If like they give him a CD or a website, a link to their social media, the DJ should be passing out like a little pack. So a little pack could be basically, okay, let's say the showcase, the DJ is opening up, the host, promoter, the owner, bartender, whatever. Like it should be like a whole collaboration of possibly business cards, right? In the pack, and the DJ just pass it out to the artist, or select individuals in the venue. That's a way of everybody staying connected, because it worked for me when it comes to linking up with different clientele, and I know it works for YL too. So if you book a DJ or you book somebody for your event, find a way to gravitate towards their associates or their fan base or their clientele so we can build yours.
Exactly. I encourage anyone in the audio professional field. You're a producer, you are an artist, you are engineer, whatever it is, like you can literally throw these showcases on your own. Of course you'll need funding, to be able to get venues and things like that. But think about, even at a beginning level engineer, beginning level producer, beginning level artist, think about how many people you know that do music, right? Think about how many people that you know that you can get 6, 7 artists that'll just show up just because they want to be around you. They're not expecting any pay. They're not expecting anything. You know what I'm saying? And like throwing showcases and getting these showcases going is a lot easier. Once you have the building, it's a lot easier than you think. You just need the talent. DJs, they're not going to charge you a whole lot of money. DJs are very reasonable. And then basically, because what we're doing and basically what you guys can do, you can put yourself in position to build your face card, build your business face card, right? So say everything goes well, right? The DJ is gonna love this because now he has some artists to connect with, right? He has artists that are gonna put money in his pocket. He has other people that are there in the building that are gonna put money in his pocket. The artists love it. They sound great. Now the DJ wants to work with them, So now, with you being the middleman and you bringing that connection together, you also acting as a producer, kind of, so to speak. In the showcase realm, you're acting as like you're the project manager, you're the producer of the showcase, and now next thing you know, you're building your network to where you go from being an engineer to now you're a company. Basically, what we're doing with Rebel Ears, we're taking our engineering talents and our experiences of engineering, and we've met so many people and we have so many networks. So now we can build Rebel Ears as a company, and we can kind of reach out to these different connections and build more networking and doing things like that, to where now you have a multimedia company or a production label or a record label. Like, it's the sky's the limit. So don't just stop where you are. Get involved with what's going on out here, especially in your city.
So this was a quick episode just to showcase what we've been working on for the upcoming week for it, and then how to expand from it. So we just want to say thank you for everybody. Of course, all the people who's listening to the podcast, all the subscribers to the website at rebelears.com. Thank you for everybody who's been a part of reading the ebooks, buying the packs, and just want to say thank you to everybody.
Appreciate you guys again, the supporters, the listeners, the subscribers, the people that are buying the packs and downloading the ebooks. We really love you guys. We appreciate you guys for listening. This has been another episode of the Rebel Ears podcast. And again, refuse to sound ordinary.
Keep tuning in.